Hi, I'm Dave. These are books. Today we're looking at a book called Moneyball, written by Michael Lewis. Moneyball, The Art of Winning an Unfair Game. This was published in 2003. It's not a new book. Here's a picture of the author, Michael Lewis. Let me read you his bio. It's very short from the back cover. He is the author of the bestsellers Liar's Poker and The New Thing, among other books. He lives in Berkeley, California, with his wife Tabitha Soren and their 2 daughters. Let me give you a quick geography lesson for those of you who may not know. Berkeley, California is right next door to Oakland, California. And this is a story of the Oakland Athletics from a few years ago and their general manager, Billy Beane. So Oakland, Berkeley, right next door to each other. Okay. I have to admit that before I read this book, I knew absolutely nothing about sabermetrics. And now I know a little bit. And baby, I can guess the rest. This book presents in a clear, simple, and interesting way a kind of a new and different way of looking at the game of professional baseball. I will now share with you some of the gems or pearls that I gathered from reading this book. What he did last is not necessarily what he will do next. Baseball people express their fondness for a thing by thinking up lots of different ways of saying it. Bunting, stealing, the hit and run, these are all, in most situations, pointless or self-defeating. Hitting is the big thing. Fielding is only about 5% of the game. It's almost negligible. Don't make outs, don't walk batters. On-base percentage is the probability that the batter will not make an out. Every batter must act like a leadoff man and get on base. Every batter must possess the power to hit home runs, draw walks, and maintain a high on-base percentage. The mental aspects of hitting are teachable. The system is the star. Bill James, who's referenced in the book, was looking into this stuff, this broad statistical analyses, back in the 70s and 80s. Every form of strength is also a form of weakness. You have to do something right to get an error. They believed they could judge a player's performance simply by watching it. The name sabermetrics derives from the letters SABR, the acronym of the Society for American Baseball Research. In 2002, the society had 7,000 members. Quote, I think really that this is one reason that so many intelligent people drift away from baseball when they come of age, that if you care about it at all, you have to realize as soon as you acquire a taste for independent thought that a great portion of the sport's traditional knowledge is ridiculous hokum. And that's from Bill James. Nitwits who glom onto something superficial in the book and misunderstand its underlying message. Once again, Bill James. The invasion of statistical gremlins crawling at random all over the telecast of darn near every baseball game. Bill James. Intelligence about baseball had become equated in the public mind with the ability to recite arcane baseball statistics. What James' wider audience had failed to understand was that the stats were beside the point. Abandon all hope of winning and at the same time show up every day for work to collect a paycheck. The word for this is rebuilding. The on-base percentage for the majority of big league players is between 300 and 400. The slugging percentage for the majority of big league players is between 350 and 550. So the on-base plus slugging percentage for the majority of big league players, you add those together, is between 650 and 950. In Bill James' model, an extra point of on-base percentage was worth 3 times an extra point of slugging percentage. Broadly speaking, an attempted steal had to succeed about 70% of the time before it contributed positively to run totals. Derivatives are those things that happen in the context of a baseball play that just never get recorded. Morality is for fans. He talks about process versus outcomes. And he gives us the 5 rules for shopping or trading players. Roughly restated, they are: 1. Change is always good. Always be upgrading. 2. You can always recover from the player you didn't sign. 3. Know exactly what every player in baseball is worth to you, in dollars. 4. Know exactly who you want and go after them. 5. To do this well, you have to ignore the newspapers. Talks about trawling for a trade, and to get worked up over plays or even games is as unproductive as a casino manager worrying over the outcomes of individual pulls of the slot machines. The more money teams spent on players, the less able those players were to win baseball games, at least in the AL West. My stuff doesn't work in the playoffs. My job is to get us to the playoffs. What happens after that is just luck. That's from Billy Beane. There are no secret recipes for the postseason except maybe having 3 great starting pitchers. Once again, Billy Beane. I enjoyed reading this book. I recommend it very highly to anyone who has any interest at all in professional baseball. Once again, it's called Moneyball by Michael Lewis. I enjoyed it a lot, learned a lot. I'm Dave. These are books.